Day 4 of 30 Days Challenge, Chapter 2, Changing Your Mind. The whole universe is change, and life itself is but what you deem it. The whole universe is change, and life itself is but what you deem it. Marcus Aurelius. What we are today comes from our thoughts of yesterday, and our present thoughts build our life of tomorrow. Your life is the creation of our mind. Our life is the creation of our mind. The most important idea is pop psychology is contained in two quotations above. Event, Events in the world affect us only through our interpretations of them. So if we can control our interpretations, we we can control our world. The best-selling, best-help advisors of all time, Dale Carnegie, writings in 1944, called the last 8 words of Aurelius' quote, 8 words that can transform your life. More recently, on televisions and the internet, Dr. Phil McGraw stated as one of his 10 laws of life, there is no reality, no perception. Self-help books and seminars continue seems to consist of little more than lecturing and lecturing people until they understand this idea and its implications of their life. It can be inspiring to watch. Often a moment comes when a person consumed by years of resentment, pain, anger, realizes that her father, for example, don't directly hurt her when he abandoned the family. All he did was move out of the house. His action was morally wrong, but the pain comes from her reaction to the event, and if she can change those reactions, she can leave behind 20 years of pain and perhaps even got to know her father. The art of pop psychology is to develop a method beyond lecturing and lecturing that guides people to that realization. This art is old. Consider Anicius Boethius, born to one of the most distinguished Roman families in 480 CE. 4 years after Rome fell to the Goths, Boethius received the best education available in history and successfully pursued careers in philosophy and public service. He wrote or translated dozens of works on math, science, logic, and theology, at the same time rising to become consul of consul of Rome, the highest elected office. In 510, he was wealthy, he married well, and his sons went on to become consuls themselves. But in 523, at the peak of his power and fortune, Boethius was accused of treason towards the Ostrogoth king Theodoric for remaining loyal to Rome and its Senate. Condemned by the cowardly Senate he had tried to defend, Boethius was stripped of his wealth and honor, thrown into prison on a remote island, and executed in 524. To take something philosophically means to accept a great misfortune without weeping or even suffering. We use this term in part because of the calmness, self-control, and courage that three ancient philosophers, Socrates, Seneca, and Boethius, showed while they awaited their executions. But in the "Consolation of Philosophy", which Boethius wrote while in prison, he confessed that at first he was anything but philosophical. He wept and wrote poems about weeping. He cursed injustice and old age and the goddess of fortune, who had blessed him and then abandoned him. Then one night, while Boethius is wallowing in his wretchedness, the majestic apparition of Lady Philosophy visits him and proceeds to chide him for his unphilosophical behavior. Lady Philosophy then guides Boethius through the interpretations that foreshadow modern cognitive therapy distinctly. She begins by asking Boethius to think about his relationship with the goddess of fortune. Philosophy reminds Boethius that fortune is fickle, coming and going as she pleases. Boethius took Fortune as his mistress, fully aware of her ways, and she stayed with him for a long time. What right has he now to demand that she be changed, chained to his side? Lady Philosophy presents Fortune's defense. Why should I alone be deprived of my rights? The heavens are permitted to grant bright days, then blot them out with dark nights. The air may decorate the face of the earth with flowers and fruits, then make it barren again with clouds and frost. The sea is allowed to invite a sailor with fair weather, then terrify him with storms. Shall I then permit man's insatiable cupidity to tie me down to a sameness that is alien to my habits? Lady Philosophy reframes changes as normal and as the right of fortune. The whole universe is change, Aurelius had said. Boethius was fortunate, now he is not. That is no cause for anger. Rather, he should be grateful that he enjoyed fortune for so long, and he should be calm now that she has left him. No man can ever be secure until he has been forsaken by fortune. Lady Philosophy tries several other refraining tactics. She points out that his wife, son, and father are each dearer to him than his own life, and all four still alive. She, she helps him see that adverse fortune is more beneficial than good fortune. The latter only makes men greedy for more, but adversity makes them strong. And she draws Boethius' imagination far up into the heaven so that he can look down on the earth and see it as a tiny speck on which even tinier people play out their comical and ultimately insignificant ambitions. She gets him to admit that riches and fame bring anxiety and avarice, not peace and happiness. After being shown these new perspectives and having his old assumptions challenged, Boethius is finally prepared to absorb the greatest lesson of all, the lesson Buddha and Aurelius had taught centuries earlier. Nothing is miserable unless you think it is so. And on the other hand, nothing brings happiness unless you are content with it. When he takes his lesson to heart, Boethius frees himself from his mental prison. He regains his composure, writes a book that has comforted people for centuries, and faces his death. I don't mean to imply that the consolations of philosophy is just Roman pop psychology, but it does tell a story of freedom through insight that I would like to continue. In the previous chapter, I suggested that our divided self is like a rider on the back of an elephant, and I said that we give far too much importance to the rider. Conscious thought. Leading philosophy like philosophy, like the pop psychology gurus of today, was working with the rider, guiding him to a moment of cognitive insight and reframing. Yet, if you have ever achieved such dramatic insights into your own life and resolved to change your ways or your outlook, you probably found it 3 months later you were right back where you started. Epiphanies can be life-altering, but most fade in days or weeks. The rider can't just decide to change and then order the elephant to go along with the program. Lasting change can come only by returning the elephant, and that's hard to do. When pop psychology programs are successful in helping people, which they sometimes are, they succeed not because of the initial moment of insight, but because they find ways to alter people's behavior over the following month. They keep people involved with program long enough to retain the elephant. This chapter is about why the people tend towards worry and pessimism in so many people, and about three tools that a writer can use to retrain it. The lycometer. The, the most important words in the elephant's language are like and dislike, or approach and withdraw. Even the simplest animal must make decisions at every moment, left or right, go or stop, eat or don't eat. Animals with brain complex enough to have emotions make these decisions effortlessly and automatically by having what is sometimes called a lycometer running in their heads all the time. If monkey tasting a new food feels a sweet sensation, it's like lycometer register. I like it. The monkey feels pleasures and bites it. If the taste is bitter, a flash of displeasure discourages further eating. There is no need for weighing of pros and cons, or for a reasoning system, just flashes of pleasure and displeasure. We humans have a lycometer too, and it always running. Its influence is subtle, but careful experiment shows that you have a like-dislike reactions to everything you experiencing, even if you are not aware of the experience. For example, suppose you are a participant in an experiment on what is known as effective priming. You sit in front of a computer screen and stare a dot in the center. Every few seconds, a word is flashed over the dot. All you have to do is tap a key with your left arm if the word means something good or likable, such as garden, hope, fun. Tap a key with your right hand if the word means something bad or dislikable, death, tyranny, boredom. It seems easy, but for some reason you find yourself hesitating for a split second on some of the words. Unbeknownst to you, the computer is also flashing up another word right on the dot just for a few hundredths of a second before putting up the target word you are reading. Though these words are presented subliminally below the level of your awareness, your intuitive system is so fast that it reads and reacts to them with like a lycometer reading. If the subliminal word is fear, it would register negative. If the subliminal word is fear, it would register negative on your lycometer, making you feel a tiny flash of displeasure, and then a split second later, you see when you see the word boredom, you would more quickly say that boredom is bad. Your negative evaluation of boredom has been facilitated or primed by your tiny flash of negativity towards fear. If, however, the word following fear is garden, you would take longer to say that garden is good because of the time it takes for your lycometer to shift from bad to good. The discovery of effective priming in the 1980s opened up a world of indirect measurement in psychology. It became possible to bypass the rider and talk directly to the elephant, and what the elephant has to say is sometimes disturbing. For example, what if instead of flashing subliminal words, we use photographs of black and white faces? Researchers have found that Americans of all ages, classes, and political affiliation react with flash of negativity to black faces or to other images and words as associated with African American culture. People who report being unprejudiced, being against black shows on average a slightly smaller automatic prejudice, but apparently the rider and the elephant each have an opinion. You can test your own elephant at www.projectimplicit.com. Even many African American shows this implicit prejudice, although others shows an implicit preference for black faces and names. On balance, African American comes out with no implicit bias either way. One of the most bizarre demonstrations of the lycometer in actions comes from the work of Brett Pelham, who has discovered that one lycometer is triggered by one's own name. Whenever you see or hear a word that resembles your name, a little flash of pleasure biases you towards thinking the thing is good. So when a man named Dennis is considering a career, he ponders the possibilities: lawyer, doctor, banker, dentist. Some things about dentist just feels right. And in fact, people named Dennis or Denise are slightly more likely than people with other names to become dentists. Men named Lawrence and women named Gloria are more likely to become lawyers. Louis and Louise are more likely to move to Louisiana or Saint Louis, and George and Georgina are more likely to move to Georgia. The old name reference even shows up in marriage record. People are slightly more likely to marry people whose names sound like their own, even if the similarity is just sharing the first initials. When Pelham presented his findings to my academic department, I was shocked to realize that most of the married people in the room illustrated his claim. Jerry and Judy, Brian and Bethany, and the winners were me, John and my wife Jan. The unsettling implications of Graham's work is that the three biggest decisions most of us make, what to do with our lives, where to live, and whom to marry, can all be influenced, even if only slightly, by something as trivial as sound of money. Life is indeed what we deem it, but deeming happens quickly and unconsciously. The elephant reacts instinctively and steers the rider towards the new destination.